Hey everybody, this is Captain Kyle, and today I'm talking to Jon Macaluso, the showrunner of the Fandemic Tour, a Comic-Con event that will be running in Houston from October 18th through the 20th. How are you doing today, Jon?
I'm doing fantastic, thank you. It's nice and 78 degrees here in Southern California, and I can't wait to get to the land of humidity.
Is Texas actually that humid?
Compared to California?
Probably, okay. So it's my understanding you were very successful in the fashion industry, but then you retired for a while, and then you got into the Comic-Con business. What kind of drew you into the Comic-Con world?
So when I sold my clothing company in 2008, right around the end of 2009, my wife and my 5 kids, we were sitting down at dinner, and they said, listen, we're very happy that you're retired, but you got to get out of the house because you are driving us crazy. You've rearranged the kitchen pantry now twice this week. Go find something to do. And at the time, I was introduced, someone introduced me to a company that was a publicly traded company that did these live events called Comic-Cons. And I had no idea what a Comic-Con was in 2010, I admit it. And I went to New Orleans and I saw an event. And after coming from the clothing industry, I have to shut this window. After coming from the clothing industry where people just were not happy and it was a grind day in and day out, 35 years of doing it. I saw all these happy people walking around dressed up in costume and people happy to be there. So they asked me to go on the board of this company. And I said, okay, I've never been on a publicly traded board, but I'll give it a try. And after we had our first board meeting, and you ever see the movie Big?
Yeah. Did you get on one of those piano things and dance?
No, but I did when Tom Hanks was in his first meeting. I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get it. And at the end of the meeting, the board of directors kind of asked me to leave the room. I called my wife, said, I can't believe this. I was such a pain in the ass that they're going to fire me. My first public board meeting. And I came back in the room and they said, would you consider becoming the CEO?
Okay, so I guess they were looking for a fresh perspective?
Yeah, well, listen, I'm a business guy. I like to entertain. I want people to always feel like they're coming to my house. I don't care if it's at an event or you're actually coming to my house. So it was a natural fit for me.
Very cool. Now, were you a fan of sci-fi and comic books before you got into the industry?
Listen, I grew up, I was born in 1956, so I grew up really in the 60s with older sisters that read Archie and Veronica and Jughead, and I would read Superman and things like that. So there were always comics around, and they were always, me and my friends, we would always, read stuff. I was not the biggest comic book fan ever, but yeah, I grew up all around comic books, but more important than that, I grew up around, at the time, real sci-fi and things like, the Jetsons. I grew up with Lost in Space. I grew up with My Favorite Martian. I grew up with the Hulk, who happens to lose a very dear friend of mine. So I grew up, watching all those shows and being fascinated by them. I mean, I would play sick all the time from school so that I could stay home and watch them.
I wish I could have done that. My parents would have killed me. So you were on the board and you were CEO for a while, and now you've started this new venture.
Yeah, in I think it's 2015. The board and I, we wanted to go down 2 different paths. I respected what they wanted to do. They respected what I wanted to do, and I, gracefully, and they gracefully, we parted ways. And that was, I think it was late 2015 or early 2016. I'm really not quite sure. But I started Fandemic in 2016. I was going to do my first show in Houston in 2017, and Hurricane Harvey came. So it was the worst thing that could have happened and the best thing that could have happened. So the worst thing was the hundreds of thousands of dollars that I lost and the terrible devastation that happened in Houston. But the best thing that happened is we returned everybody's money within hours of learning that we had to cancel the show because the NRG Center became the evacuee center for all the homeless people. So it gave us instant credibility.
Well, that's pretty incredible. So you weren't concerned when starting this new convention because the market is so full. I mean, I know of at least 3 other conventions that are happening the same weekend as Fandemic Houston.
There's 5 other events.
Okay, I only know about 3 of them.
There's an event the week after, a few hours away.
And there's events the weekend before, and there's events all over the place. You weren't concerned about the saturation of the market?
So this is like the all-time question, because, you know, my thinking before I decided to go back into this was, okay, so where are you going to do a show? So let's look around the cities in the United States and look at how many shows are in each city. So I'm assuming you know Houston pretty well, okay? But they have one really great show there, and that's called Comicpalooza.
I've heard of that.
It's really the only show that they have. There was a show before mine at the NRG Center. I didn't even mention the name of it because it just aggravates people. But that show went away. And I'm saying to myself, there's 9.3 million people. It's going to be the 3rd largest city on the next census report. How do you not do more than one show there? So I decided that that's where I wanted to plant my flag.
So it's pretty much a regional thing. Like Atlanta has a ton of shows and New York has a ton of shows. So you would pick a market that had a great population but wasn't really overserved at that point.
You know, when I started in 2010, there were probably 200 shows. There's probably 1,000 shows today. So I think every market is probably overserved. And really, I guess it all comes down to what is the attendee really looking for? Are they looking for just unbelievable vendors? Are they looking for fantastic artists? Or are they just looking for photos and autographs? The difference between a concert, the difference between a play that you go to at our shows, you could actually meet the talent. Whether it's, you know, one of the great artists that we have coming, whether it's one of the great celebrities we have coming from Jon Berthal, Sebastian, Milo, the Phelps twins, Summer Glau, Sean Astin, the wrestlers Seth and Becky, Jason David Frank and Sean Patrick Flannery and Ray Park, and I could keep going down the list. And I forgot anyone. If I forgot anyone, only because I'm not looking, I apologize. But you can actually shake their hands, you get a selfie, you get an autograph, and you can get a professional photo op, and that's something you can't do at a concert.
I couldn't agree more. Now, with all these thousands of cons, though, there have been a few that have failed. London Film and Comic Con had to cancel. The Comic Con at the Foxwoods Resort had to cancel their 2019 show. Regeneration Who canceled a week before they were supposed to open and just basically disappeared. And Walker Stalker, which has been a very up-and-coming con, has now had to cancel several events, and it's been reported they have a lot of financial issues. So a lot of fans are concerned about prepaying for tickets and paying for travel expenses for fear that the con might cancel. What would you say, as someone who has been in the industry for a while, that a fan should look at when deciding whether or not to invest in going to a con?
The first thing you really need to look for is the legitimacy of the con. Do your research. So you've mentioned a few names there, and something, Kyle, you'll find out about me. I never speak badly about anybody. But the cons that you mentioned, there's a lot of very bad press out there about them. There's a lot of money owed to the fans that come to a show. So like the first thing we kind of talked about was the best and the worst thing that happened to us with Harvey is we returned everyone's money the next day. So, and then last year, which really cemented our, call it credibility, was Sebastian Stan called me and said that, John, you're not even going to believe this, I have to cancel. That was on August 3rd of last year. I remember August 3rd because it was my birthday. I had 70 people at my house celebrating my birthday, and I get this phone call from Sebastian. I'm on vacation with my wife and my kids, and for the next 5 days, and I said to Sebastian, what can we do? He goes, if you could put an event together in 5 days, I'll fly to Houston, and we'll do this mini con. And we did. And if you read from what I understand, what people have told me, they still tell me it's never ever been done before. But if you read what people have said and how happy they were what we did, and just what a great kid Sebastian is. I love the kid. He's unbelievable. That we did that, it gives us credibility. And the motto of Fandemic, since we really started, is take care of the fan, take care of the fan, and take care of the fan.
That's the top 3 things you should be doing, absolutely.
We try our best, and I will tell you, Kyle, it's impossible to make everybody happy.
Oh yeah, I definitely understand that. I've seen that before. So you were mentioning a few of the names that you're having in Houston, Sebastian Stan, Milo Ventimiglia, Cooper Andrews. As a newer con, how are you able to put together such an impressive guest list?
Well,
I take it you have contacts.
That's just like such a funny question to me. And I'll tell you why it's so funny, because I've done 150 cons. So guys like Norman Reedus would come to the show before he would, from Boondock Saints, and he would have, 30 people on the line. Now he has 3,000 people. I first brought the Phelps twins in, Oliver and James, 9 years ago. Summer Glau and I are great friends, and her husband Val. I mean, they came to my 60th, birthday. Sean Astin, I probably have done 30 shows with him. I've made some really great friends.
That's great, and I'm looking forward to seeing this lineup in person very soon. So where can people get more information about the con? FandemicTour.com, yep. October 18th, 19th, and 20th at the NRG Center. That's great. Well, thank you so much for your time, Jon, and we'll be seeing you very soon. And everyone who's watching, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time, and as always, have fun and follow your fandom.
Hi, this is Aaron Ashmore, and you are watching Fandom Spotlight. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe like now. Oh, and have fun and follow your fandom.